The day that really changed everything was when Rick, my teacher, he said to me one morning after class, I got my bag and I was about to catch the bus from North Bondi into the city. And he said, Katie, you know, keep up your practice. I think you'd make a really good teacher one day. And I still get quite choked up when I think about it because it was such a pivotal moment, you know, to change. For change, it really set me on a different path. And I believe I would have gotten here eventually, but it was a very crystal clear moment, and it was beautiful. I remember it. And so that really set me on that course of, what retreats can I do? What yoga teacher training can I do? And that consumed me. And I finally took the leap and left my job in advertising, went to India, studied yoga, and came back and, got into it. And there was a lot of fear around teaching yoga. I could have easily just not done it. And then one day, one of my friends who had a gym in Huntington just kind of basically stuck a job under my nose and said, look, I could go through all these resumes of yoga teachers, or I could just choose you, so jump in there and do it. And that was it for me.
That's amazing. That's incredible. So most people take a break and then go do their teacher training, and then they start teaching a few classes, and then eventually they go part-time, or eventually they leave their job. Some do, some don't. And you went full throttle, in for a penny, in for a pound.
Yeah, I did. I sort of took the leap. I did have a little safety net, to be honest, Patty. When I left Autumn One, which was this little agency, great little agency where I was working, I took up some shifts at Lululemon because, you know, it was in that realm of yoga and health. And so I did have that before I left for India, a couple of months before I left India. And then for quite a few months when I got back, I was still working there whilst I was building up my classes.
And your reputation.
So that was a really great place for me to be, and I recommend for anyone who's doing the same thing to have that little, if they need that little safety net, Lululemon's a great place to do that because you are so immersed in that. And I love so much, again, business and what it means to really communicate your goals and what it means to really be authentic, have integrity, and
build community.
Essentially, you know, you're there and yes, you're selling stretchy pants, but there is a lot more to it as well, which I think a lot of people don't realize.
So you mentioned your depression and that you went on antidepressants for quite a few years. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and how that impacted other parts of your life?
I think the part that it affected the most was, I believe, the way that I communicated. And in fact, I just stopped communicating and I stopped feeling because it felt safer not to feel and it felt safer not to communicate.
Yes.
You know, I had a tendency to really bottle everything in and hold everything in. And that manifested itself through an eating disorder, and it manifested itself continually through depression after that. And you know what? Like today, yoga is still my medicine.
Yes.
It's still my coping mechanism. I like to think it's a healthier coping mechanism than the antidepressant. Not that I'm fully against that in antidepressants. I think sometimes some people really need them.
Absolutely. Especially when it comes to the throat. I love how you said you bottled up your feelings, because out of all of our energy centers and our chakras, our throat center is literally a bottleneck. So if we feel stuck and if we feel like we can't express ourselves or communicate our truth, we're never going to manifest a reality that we really want, because we're never going to say what we want.
Because we're always going to say yes to other people.
Yeah, or tell them what they want to hear, which is really, really interesting.